And now I want to bring in the chairwoman of Act for America, Brigitte Gabriel. Brigitte, thank you for joining the Pulse this evening. You know, it is encouraging that people here in the U.S. who experience Sharia law are actually sharing their own stories. And I know that you also lived under radicalism in Lebanon. But what is it going to take to just wake people up to the very real threat that is right now facing our country?
I am delighted to see more people speaking up and be courageous enough to say, I'm going to put my life on the line to speak up. Because someone like him, they are putting their life on the line. And remember, we grew up in societies where you don't criticize, where you don't speak up openly, because people can come take you in the middle of the night and kill you. So those, especially in Iran, people like Iranians who came here, who still have family there. Thankfully, I don't have any family left in Lebanon. But people are speaking up, and because their voices are getting louder and louder, because the more people speak up, the more platforms they have, the more voices you have. I remember when I started in 2002, I was the only person speaking out who comes from the Middle East, and nobody wanted to listen. But now people are starting to listen for two reasons. One, because we are watching these images on the streets of the West, whether in New York, whether in Houston, whether in Detroit, in Michigan, or anywhere, and people are becoming aware that there is a parallel legal system rising within our country. When it was happening in England, people didn't care. They said, oh, that's far. It's not going to happen here. So what, they have 85 Sharia courts operating in Britain parallel to British court. That doesn't affect us. Right now, they are operating in the United States, and that's why people are concerned.
Yeah, people are very, very concerned, and it's growing. Now, I know Eddie's message, it went viral after he spoke at that McKinney City Council meeting last week, which is not a large city. But the city, they're still allowing this project to move forward. What specific red flags does it raise when we see a large-scale mosque like this being developed and going up in small towns?
Well, here's how we have to look at it. Look, in the Constitution of the United States, it says anybody can come and worship whatever God they want. We have freedom of religion. People can build whatever house of worship they want. We had people immigrate to the United States who were Buddhist, and they built Buddhist temples, and the Mormons, and the whatever. People can build whatever house of worship they want. We even had mosques. We have no problem with people building a house of worship. The problem becomes when they start operating as a community that is not compatible with our Constitution, using foreign laws that are not compatible with our laws. And so when they start abusing women, or when women are beaten and they go to the imam to complain, or they go to the police and the police say to them, local police, you need to go to your Sharia court because you come under Sharia court as a part of that Islamic community, and the woman goes to the imam and he says, well, of course he should beat you. He can rape you, he can beat you, he can do anything to you. You're not allowed to have money, you're not allowed to inherit anything because you are a woman. We do not want that happening in our country. That's what we are concerned about. We are concerned about who is funding the mosque, who owns the deed to the mosque. Are they overseas foundation? Who owns the overseas foundation? Is that money dirty money that also funds terrorists? Are terrorists funding the mosques in the United States to use them as command center? This is where the sticky part that comes in. So you have a lot of city council members who have to abide by the Constitution. They cannot shut down a house of worship simply because a lot of people complained. Because people apply to build a house of worship and they get granted that permission. But then you have to prove that the people that own the deed to the mosque have links to terrorist organizations or have funneled money to Al-Qaeda, yet at the same time are donating money to build this mosque. Why? What's the link? Should we be concerned? Are any of the founders of the mosque on the FBI terrorist watch list? That's a concern. Are any of the board members of the mosque have links to terrorism or to foreign terrorist organizations? This is where you can stop something like this from becoming an incubating terrorist hub in your community, but you cannot stop it just because it's a mosque.
Well, to me, this seems like it's an organized effort to exploit local laws and then force Muslim ideology on communities that are predominantly Christian. And even though history books are filled with Islam taking over entire countries, what do you say to the person that says, that could never happen here?
Yes, it can happen here. It is happening here, and it will happen here. What we need to start doing is we need to start talking about Islam being a political ideology cloaked in religion, and then we can identify that this is a political ideology that is not compatible with the Constitution or the values of the United States, and therefore, this is how we need to look at it. Once you do that, then you can stop the political ideology from spreading and growing within our own communities and our own cities. And I think it's going to take boldness on the part of members of Congress and the American public in general to start saying Islam is a political ideology. It's not only a religion, it's a political ideology cloaked in religion, and that's where the danger lies. And therefore, we need to name it as a political ideology. We need to ban that political ideology, including Sharia law, from being implemented in the United States. That's when you can start getting somewhere.
Well, and I know that you're working on federal legislation that would stop Sharia law from gaining any foothold in America. So tell us about those proposals and how they'd what can our viewers actually do to help get them to President Trump's desk?
A great question. We have a bill in Congress right now called Preserving Our Constitution Act of 2026. It's on the front page of our website. Go to actforamerica.org right now. Actforamerica.org. Click and take action on that bill. We have emails prepared for you that will go directly to your members of Congress. We already we give you their phone number. We even give you a script you can read while you are on the phone with them to make sure we pass this bill. This bill will ban any law that is not compatible with the U.S. Constitution to be practiced in America, and especially Sharia courts. No Sharia courts will be allowed to operate in the United States because the Constitution is the highest authority of the land. Now, we were able to pass the same model bill in 13 states across the United States. The latest one is Texas, but we now have that on the federal level. Once we pass it at the federal level, and it is now in Congress, so we need you to call your elected officials. We need you to email your elected officials. We make it very easy for you. Go to actforamerica.org. Take action on that bill. Share it with your friends. Make sure you sign up to get our emails and action alerts. We're working on similar models in different states across the United States.
We've got to do it. We've got to do it
on the internet. Yes.
Actforamerica.org, friends. Get over there.
Actforamerica.org.
Brigitte Gabriel, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Appreciate you and all that you are doing to save our republic. God bless you.